Yes, this is the 260. I'm Joe Walburn. I'm joined by the man they call the mayor, Dave Rickert. We got Brummy, Matt Brumball, riding shotgun from Spies, and an interview we are all excited to have.
Been waiting for this.
The number one center prospect in next week's NFL draft, the 260's very own Joe Tippmann. And
Joe Tippmann.
Thanks for joining us, brother, man. We're all so proud of you, Joe. You know what? We can't wait to hear about your journey through this process. But I tell you what, baby, 260, you're making us all proud.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on.
It's a pleasure, man, Joe. So many great memories playing at Bishop Dwenger. All the excitement, another great offensive lineman coming out of Wisconsin. You moved to center. All of a sudden, you're shooting up the draft boards. What's this been like for you, man? I mean, it's got to be a whirlwind process. How you handling everything?
How's your brain?
Exactly.
Well, after these past 2 weeks, pretty much mush. I've been traveling around doing what they call top 30 visits. So,
yes.
I've been in and out of planes, flying in and out of different teams. So it's been wild, but I'm finally ready.
That cannot be comfortable for somebody your size.
No, especially when they're getting me middle seats.
What's that? What teams, obviously, you just don't quite know. There's some cat and mouse next week with the draft. But are there some teams, Joe, that you feel like are really focusing in on you? And have you been able to bond a little bit with certain teams?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say there's kind of some that have really focused in on me, but it's kind of different. I mean, it's weird because some teams won't bring out guys they're interested in. Some will. So, because they're kind of trying to keep possibly low under the radar. I'm not saying that's exactly what's happening, but yeah. So, I mean, last week I went from, So I started at the Patriots, went from the Patriots to the Vikings to Buffalo to the Commanders. And then I had a couple days off. And then this past Monday through Wednesday, I was at Giants, Jets, and then Eagles. But I mean, that was an awesome experience. I mean, just getting to go around and, seeing the different cultures of the teams and everything. It was wild.
Were you meeting with the head coach?
Yeah. Meeting with it's they're only allowed to have you for 24 hours. So that means you fly in there and then you have to be out of there, by the next, that next day. So it's they'll bring you over at 7 a.m. and it's pretty much 7 to 3. You're just meeting and you're going from one meeting to the next with just pretty much anybody on their staff. So
in this process, Joe, who's been the one person that you were really impressed with that stood out to you?
I'd say the Eagles. The Eagles and their staff.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a really cool culture to be able to kind of go in there and experience it. And they were right there last year, and you can tell just by talking with all the coaches and everything. They got their head in the right place going into this next season.
Plus, you'd be protecting a great quarterback that just got paid.
Hell yeah! Especially after seeing that deal.
Yeah,
what a huge deal, huh?
Yeah.
You think you think yours is going to be that big?
Yeah, no, not anytime soon.
You're going to do all right, brother.
Yeah.
Let's go back, man. CYO football, man.
Yep.
Then on to Bishop Dwenger. Talk to us a little bit about that experience and who were some of the youth coaches that made a difference for you? And when did that moment come that it just kind of clicked that I got this, man, this football thing, I've got a future in this?
Yeah. So I'd say, some of those early on would be Coach Sam Tallarico, Coach Jason Fabini. Those were guys that, really impacted me really early on in my football career, starting from a young age. And, Sam as in Coach Tallarico, he was that guy that was always kind of getting on me to, glorifying that lineman position. Because I was always I want to be a receiver. I want to be a tight end. And
Big Joe wanted to be a wide receiver. Dave.
Yeah. So give me the ball. So I mean, they were. From a young age, just being able to kind of instill all that love for O-line play. Both Coach Fabini and Coach Tallarico were there very early on for me.
So, Joe, knowing your uncles, I'm pretty good friends with both of them, and I know your mom and dad. I tell everybody, the Pelican blood finally got into the Tippmann blood.
Oh yeah,
Your uncle Chris was pretty. He was a stud.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, Chris was a legend in the 260.
And Tim was good too. But I mean, looking back, how did they help you?
Just kind of, I guess, being there for support all the time. My Uncle Chris and Uncle Tim, always, every time I'm seeing them, the only thing we're talking about is football, pretty much. We're going right to it. So, just kind of, I guess, helping me find that love for the game.
Tim always says that your dad said, "Hey, I don't know anything about football. You guys take over."
Yeah.
And they did a fine job.
They were there for me from a young age.
What was it like to play at such a school with rich tradition in Bishop Dwenger for Coach Garrett? I mean, you guys won the state championship. I did the call of the game in the sectional championship when you guys played Wayne. I think if you go back and you ask me top 3 high school football games I broadcasted the last 25 years, that would be a top 3. That was a fantastic game. I remember they just finally gave up in the second half and moved you around the line positions, put you in the backfield a little bit, and just kind of slammed the ball down the field. But talk a little bit about that game. Craig Young played in that game, who's playing for Kansas. He'll probably get drafted next year. But talk about that game and then playing for Coach Garrett and ultimately winning the state championship.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was, altogether kind of an up and down season. We started off, we were coming off of, kind of that whole head coaching change position. And, we naturally had to rally behind Coach Garrett, which, came pretty quickly. We started, I guess, with like the whole bonding experience stuff. And, that's something that's huge. If you don't have those relationships, you're not going to be able to trust each other on the field. You're not going to really want to, I guess, cut it loose and, put your body on the line for your teammates. So, that started pretty much in the summer of 2018. And, just kind of going through that season, we were just kind of attacking everything and getting through the traditions of Bishop Dwenger football.
Yes. The traditions there, Joe, are just, okay, number one, you guys take your little camp, go out in the woods, do that that's a big bonding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That was a big, there was a lot of different aspects of it too. Big bonding experiences, trusting, overcoming fears. I remember they had me climbed up on top of a 30-foot telephone pole that you just had to stand on the top of it. And I was sitting there shaking. I was like, what the hell have I gotten myself into?
That's fantastic, brother.
Another tradition of Dwenger, riding the bus, fully padded, full helmets on, no talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was,
that's why you guys win.
Yeah. Yeah. It just kind of builds up that energy and builds up that suspense. A lot of people would be like, well, you just get changed when you get there. I guess, talking on the bus, that's all things that are going to, I guess, get you more excited. But, I never went into a game feeling more excited than I did at Dwenger.
And then moving forward, Joe, why Wisconsin? Obviously, Wisconsin, when you think of colleges, is offensive lineman U.
Yeah, NFL U.
Yep, but for you, why Wisconsin, Joe?
So they were actually the first school to come start recruiting me at all. I think it was the end of my it was the end of my sophomore season, and it was actually Coach Bostad who ended up being my O-line coach my last year at Wisconsin. But at the time, he was just the recruiter for Indiana. And so he came there. He told me to come up for camp and whatever. So I ended up going up for camp, and I did pretty well there and everything. Didn't get an offer and whatnot, but they invited me and my dad back the next day to do a visit. And I mean, personally, I just kind of fell in love with the coaching staff, with the school, and their tradition of success in the O-lineman room. So, when I finally did, I got the rest of those other offers. I got Purdue, Indiana, all that stuff. But when I finally did get that Wisconsin offer, it was like less than a month later, I committed.
How tough and how intense was it to make that jump to play Big Ten football, Joe?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a tough transition, but that was something Coach Fabini helped me with a lot. You know, he was kind of
having him in your back pocket's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, that's a good resource. I mean, he kind of helped me get ready for that transition and that I guess that jump that I was going to be making. So, you know, I came in physically ready, and you know, there's a whole nother mental aspect that comes to the game. But you know, kind of that Coach Rudolph told me going in there. He said, you know, you're going to be a scout team guy your freshman year. So I kind of just, you know, I guess locked that in, stuck to my role, and I mean, just got after it on the scout team. And, you know, I was going against great competition all year long, and it helped me, I guess, in the long run to be able to make that transition into Big Ten college football.
Take a moment. I've got a great story about Jason Fabini, but take a moment and tell us how much that mentorship and how much it meant to you to have Jason Fabini, not only in your life for football, but also there for you personally.
I mean, it's been huge, you know, especially, I mean, I've been going through all these meetings with all these NFL coaches and everything. And that's something I bring up in every single one of them. I'm like, you know, I had Coach Fabini coach me from 5th grade through senior year of high school. And, you know, not only that, he was there for me, you know, to make that transition from college or from high school to college. And then now he's been there for me for making this transition from college to the draft. And, you know, he was also a resource in when I was trying to make that decision, if I wanted to, you know, stay in college for another year or go. But, you know, he's been someone that's in my corner pretty much ever since I can remember. And then, you know, every time I'm in town, he's taking me out for lunch, breakfast, dinner, and always.
Imagine that bill, Dave.
Oh,
imagine that bill.
Those two big boys eating.
I got a great Jason Fabini story. It just seems so right that you're in the draft this year. 25 years ago, Jason Fabini was picked in the 4th round by the New York Jets, and Dave and I have been watching kind of the progress of
Jets
you.
Had the 42nd and 43rd pick.
Yeah, we're kind of thinking that could be a real possibility right there in one of those picks for you, Joe. But, you know, Jason Fabini gets picked by the New York Jets, starts the first game of his rookie year, okay? His uncle was a guy by the name of Frank Lombardo. We're all down at the bar, Tubby's, Lombardo's bar down there on Broadway, down there across from Wendy's, all the way down from Steve Shine's place down there. And we're all there on the opening day of the NFL regular season. The Jets are playing the San Francisco 49ers, and we're in there celebrating Jason Fabini. And I'm in there with his uncle. Now, his uncle poured us all a shot of wild turkey. And I'll tell you what, that stuff will knock your dick in the dirt. But so we're there with a shot of wild turkey. We're going to do a shot of wild turkey on the first NFL play of Jason Fabini. And we're just sitting there looking at each other thinking, he made it. You know, he made it. All the hard work. Jason made it. So there's these shots of wild turkey with his uncle, Frank Lombardo. First play, Vinny Testaverde's calling out the signals for the New York Jets. The 49ers had like Dana Stubblefield and Charles Haley. And Jason lines up for his first snap in the NFL, starting at tackle. And I think it was Stubblefield comes off the ball and head slaps Jason to his knees. Okay. And we're just like, this is at the old Candlestick Park. We're watching it. It's the 4:00 game on CBS in the NFL. And we're just like, whoa, my gosh. And there's silence across the bar. And we kind of look at each other like, oh my gosh.
That's it.
That's it. It was the most vicious head slap I ever saw in my life. We kind of looked at each other and we said, man, to you, Jason. And we all had a shot of wild turkey on Jason Fabini's first snap, brother. But you know what? It just seems so appropriate with your relationship. 25 years later, another great Bishop Dwanger, 260 offensive lineman is about to start his journey, man.
Yeah. Hell, they're neighbors, Joe.
I mean, so I'm just it's so special, brother. For not only you, but it's gotta be special for Jason too.
Yeah, I mean Jason, and then also my entire family. You know, I've been gracious enough to have coming from a big family, the level of support that I've gotten from all of them. You know, my parents and then all my siblings. I don't think I had a game here at Wisconsin besides the COVID season where I didn't have at least one family member that was either in Wisconsin or at all my away games too. I always had someone there. So, you know, just to be able to have that level of support I think that's got to be one of the aspects that's been able to get me to this far, and it's what's going to take me and lead me through the NFL.
I know you have a lot of cousins, but look,
yeah.
young Levi, he loves you.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is that kid is special.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. I've been playing. I bought a PlayStation 5 when I got out to California when I was training, because there was pretty much, I'm training for the draft, and then we'd be done by 3 p.m. every day, and I'd have 7 8 hours of sitting on my ass. So I bought a PlayStation 5, and I've been playing with Levi and my little brother Jackson. And they're, Levi's out there kicking my ass, and whatever games we're playing, but it's awesome.
I love that kid.
Joe, you talked about your relationship with your father, your great uncles. The Tippmann name commands so much respect in the 260. Take a moment and talk about your mother and how much she's meant to you, through this whole process.
Oh yeah, she's been awesome. She's has always been my biggest supporter, and I credit her to me finding my love for kind of like off-season training, because I played basketball from like 4th to 6th grade, and I hated it. I was real bad at it. It wasn't my sport, so I was begging her to quit, and she her and my dad kind of sat me down. They're like, well, if you're not going to play basketball, you're not just going to sit on your ass the whole rest of the year. So they kind of got me into like AW back then. It was like AWP. That sports performance training that, I was able to find those make those jumps just from 6th to 7th grade. And I was able to find that, kind of that love and that, I guess, the reason to do it. And, I was able to just continue carrying on that love for, the weight room, and just, I guess, always just getting better.
I really wish that your grandpa Pelkin was here.
Oh yeah,
he would be so extremely happy. He was a great athlete.
Yes,
he still has records at Xavier in basketball.
Wow, impressive.
Yeah, I would before every single game and after every single game, I'd either get a call or he had a flip phone. I'd get some not very good text from him.
But playing at that level, Joe,
thing was then he pushed you around. What's that?
Say that again. Joe, say that again, please.
Well, I don't know where I cut off.
What do you talking about him in the flip phone and the text?
Oh,
what do you say to you?
I would always get a text or a call, and it was whether it was after a basketball game, football game. It was always his big thing was don't let those little assholes push you around. He didn't like short people.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe. Yeah. Playing at a major level, playing Big Ten football, and now you're going to play in the NFL. What do those little messages mean to you before games? If a message came in from when your grandfather was with us, or your mother or your father or any family members or friends, somebody who's playing at the highest level, what do those messages mean to you?
Yeah, it really means a lot, because there's so much going on right before a game. I do little things to bring myself back down, so I'm not getting elevated too high and I guess too much energy before the games and everything. But seeing those texts as I'm listening to music or kind of putting my pads on, it kind of really helps to bring me back down and kind of I guess remind me what I'm doing it for. And so that's always been something that really helps me.
That was a drastic move to center. Tell us a little bit about that and the faith that you had in the process, because going from tackle to center is a big change.
Before you say that, I tell everybody, just stop and think. He's 6'6". He's at Wisconsin, and they put him at center. That's how loaded you guys are.
Yeah. It was a big jump, and it was a big transition. So when I came in my freshman year and I was playing on the scout team, coach, our scout team O-line coach at the time wanted me at center just so that we would have a big push up the middle and all that stuff. But he would also throw me around to the puller. So whoever was the pulling guy, he'd make me go out there. And I think that's kind of what helped me to get to where I am today with my pulling ability. But besides from that, I didn't really, after that freshman year scout team, I didn't really do much center back until I was going into my 3rd year, which would have been my first year starting. And Coach Christ and Coach Rudolph kind of sat me down, and they told me they wanted me to take that starting center spot. they told me, pretty much they're not going to give it to me, but that's where they want me to take it. And, for me, it was my first opportunity to get on the field. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to get on the field. And, I kind of worked a lot kind of by myself a lot that summer because in college, you can't, in the summers, you can't use a ball. So like working with any coaches, it's either like we can do position work, but you can't use a ball. So I had to do all that stuff kind of on my own.
Never heard of that.
Yeah. And then
that
so
sounds
going
stupid.
into camp, going into camp, I a lot of it was learning too. There's so much more on your plate at the center position. You're making minds. You're pointing out. You're making the calls. What you want to slide to. If you want to flip the call, So there was just like a whole other aspect of what I wanted to, I guess, accomplish and what was going to be on my plate. And it just took a lot of work, a lot of kind of reaching out to those people that were going to be able to help me. And
you did that. You did that in one summer. You figured out.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So impressive.
Very.
So impressive. And it's funny when we read the scouting reports of you, they talk so much about your hips, how fluid you are, how you can get to the next level, and they love your size and strength. And I read you have a 635-pound squat. Yeah. I mean, that's incredible. But what's funny too is the only thing they're a little bit concerned of is at the center position, they think you're almost too big and too strong, which we laughed about because we went through your whole scouting report. There's nothing negative. Everything about you is awesome, but their only concern is he's so big and strong, a 635-pound squat. He might be too big as an NFL center. And we've never had an offensive lineman criticized, Dave,
for being too big.
For size.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the big things. They say like, oh, you think the being as big as you are at the center position affects you negatively. I'm like, no, not at all. I get to play with more length than other guys would. There's certain things I have to, kind of consciously think about, not giving anybody my chest because it is a broader surface and all that.
Yeah.
But after that, it's all about me, my strength, my power, and something they worry about is being able to bend, especially being as big as I am. But I can bend, I can get out and run. So, yeah.
So, being too big, I want to see him go up and get Dominican Sue.
Oh, I tell you what, speaking of that, Joe, when you lay your head down at night, you're a week away, brother, from being drafted in the NFL. You have any thoughts or daydreaming about playing in certain stadiums or playing against certain players? You got to be sitting back a little bit and thinking, man, I might play on Soldier Field someday. Or,
it's coming real quick.
Any thoughts with that or just the excitement of the moment? Or have you had a chance to kind of take it all in?
Honestly, I haven't even had the time to be able to take it all in with me traveling around and everything. But I'll be honest, I'm excited to, I guess, just get out finally be settled down on the one team so that I can fully, kind of dive myself into the playbook, into the culture, so that I can finally just, I guess my number one goal for when I get to the NFL is to earn the trust and respects of the rest of the offensive line, the rest of the team. So
you will,
without that, I'm in no position to, even work for a starting job and all that. So my first goal is to earn the trust and respect of everybody else on the team.
Next week, Joe, where are you going to be at to watch the draft, and who are you going to share that moment with?
Yeah, so I'm just going to be with the family in Fort Wayne. And yeah, it's just going to be an awesome moment to be able to share it with all the people that have supported me for so long. And I guess, the people that have gotten me to where I'm at. So I'm excited.
We are so proud of you. Now we're going to put you on the spot. We have a little segment where we call it Rapid Fire, where we like to ask our guests just questions. It kind of personalizes them. So the first question from me, and I don't know if you even have had time to watch any Netflix.
When you're not playing with Levi and your brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the question.
When you're not gaming, and if you've had any time, is there anything that you're watching on Netflix right now, Joe?
I just finished up the show Night Agent.
Ah, interesting. Night Agent.
I haven't heard that one.
Interesting.
So, Joe, what is, I have a feeling I know the answer, but in the Fort, what is your favorite restaurant?
In Fort Wayne?
Yep.
Shoot, I'd have to say Black Canyon.
I knew
Bingo.
it. I knew it. I knew it.
Call.
Good answer.
Good. Yeah, great answer.
All right, man. When you're doing that 635-pound back squat, or
Or
you're
55
or
or 55 bench.
you're bitching 465 or 455, what does Joe Tippmann listen to music wise?
I'd say like a lot of rock music, especially when I'm working out. But also, like before games and stuff, I listen to country. I like to use
I love it.
to use the
Good
country
boy.
music to kind of bring me back down.
Interesting. Do you think that having to come back down before the game is just so you're not playing out of control?
Yeah, so especially with me, something that like I like to strive for each and every game and going into and practice as well is just a calm confidence, and having to bring myself back down. Each and every after almost pretty much every single play, I have to take my breath. As soon as the whistle blows, I take that breath, pretty much wipe the whole play, wipe everything that just happened, and pretty much say to myself, on to the next one.
Joe, you already covered how you recharge yourself. What is your greatest, it can be high school, college, what is your greatest sports moment?
I would have to say winning that sectional game versus Wayne.
Wow.
I agree.
Not the state, the sectional game. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
That was
it was just the most wild and I guess crazy game that I've been a part of. And the state game was just as awesome. It was kind of the culmination of that whole season, but
Yeah,
we wouldn't have
build
gotten
up.
there without that Wayne game.
Yeah, that game against Wayne could have been the best playoff game in the 260 in the last 10 years, Dave.
Wow.
Last question, Joe.
Yep.
We're all so proud of you in the 260, brother,
And very thankful.
and thankful, man. You've been a great role model. The Tippmann name is spoken with so much pride. Got a lot of guys that watch the podcast. Got Mylan Graham, just committed to Ohio State. Got Tay Johnson, maybe Notre Dame, maybe Tennessee, Dave.
Yep.
Brock Schott, Stratton,
He's just
Fuller.
getting offers left and right now.
Got so many great guys playing high school football in the 260. What is the message to them from Joe Tippmann?
I'd say ability. If you're not able to get on the field, you're not going to be so making yourself available, pretty much, I guess, in any position and in any I guess area, special teams, all that stuff, because you're not going to get on the field, you're not going to be able to get out there and show out unless you do that first. So making yourself, when I said ability first, I meant to say availability.
Availability, gotcha.
If that clarifies that a little more. But yeah, I mean, making yourself available. If your coach says, "Hey, like someone goes down, at a spot that you don't play, if you jump up, you're available. They know that you want to get out there. They know that you want to play."
Great answer.
That's a great answer, and that's a great message to all of our great kids in the 260. And I tell you what, Joe, we couldn't be any more proud of you. When your name's called next week, just know in your heart that all of us are going to stand up in the 260 and we're going to clap and tap our chest and say, "Yeah, baby, you did it."
Next Thursday night, we're gonna have an NFL draft, and we're gonna go the whole night with it.
Yeah, we're going to go the whole first round, the first ever 260 NFL live stream draft party.
Tell them who you're trying to get, Joe.
Oh, we got all kinds. We're trying to get we're hoping Jason Fabini can come over a little bit and talk a little bit about 25 years, Joe, when Jason Fabini was drafted. Bill Parcells loved Fabini, by the way, 4th round. But we also, Sonar, a guy who does all the production for us out of multi-format, he has ties to Jonathan Ogden, who was the offensive tackle for the Baltimore Ravens, Bubba Baker from the Detroit Lions. We're going to have Coach Eddie Nolan on, so we're hoping to have Bernard Pollard call in. So next Thursday, man, we're just going to celebrate the draft, celebrate the 260, and we believe you're probably going to get picked in one of those picks by the New York Jets, but there's also a little tiny speculation. Maybe you'll sneak in the end of the first round, but basically next week we're going to celebrate the 260. We're going to celebrate the draft, and we're going to celebrate the hard work and effort in the name of Tippmann. And I tell you what, brother, we are so proud of you.
Very proud.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys so much.
Well,
Absolutely.
Joe, I really appreciate it. I know you're still going to be nerves on high, but we wish you the best.
And enjoy the moment, brother. You worked hard. You earned it. And thank you for being the role model that you are for the 260, baby.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely, man. I tell you what,
All right,
Dave,
Joe.
from fighting in the trenches of the NFL that Joe Tippmann will do
Yeah.
to fighting in the steel cage
Yeah, we
with
go
our
from
next
Joe
guest.
Tippmann,
How you like that? The toughness of Joe Tippmann.
Jacob Kendig.
Yep, to
MMA.
transition to MMA, a guy who fights in the cage, and Jacob Kendig. So this is the 260.